Three, two, one. Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is Brandy J, Voices of Courage, Walk the Talk. I'm here today with internet entrepreneur, Brandon Turner. How are you today, Brandon?
I'm doing well. How are you, Brandy?
I'm doing well now that you're here.
Thank you.
um, I found it very interesting that, when I was reading what your, I don't know, say dream, but I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? What you were compelled to do was to get to basically have your business like basically run itself without you having to like be there to run it, right? And
Right.
that's
Yes.
newsletter.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought that was interesting because I also know that Miss Kiana, I was gonna, bring her out whenever, if you want her to come out now.
Yeah.
She's an entrepreneur too. She just, so she wrote a book and all that stuff. So I'm excited for you two to meet.
Yes. Me too.
So she's Superwoman. I don't know if she can hear you. Hear me back there? She's Superwoman.
No, I get it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, my mother was too, so I understand Superwomen. Yes.
Yeah. So I thought that was perfect when I heard that. I was like, yeah, well, you're not there. I love it. A recipe? So
Right.
yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll just want me to bring her on out and we
Yeah,
can all get into it. All right.
absolutely.
Hey there,
Hi.
Kiana.
Hey,
Hi,
Kiana.
Brandon.
Hey, Kiana. How you doing? Nice to meet you virtually.
Fun.
I
Let me get my connect.
was telling Brandon that you also too, you started your business, you're an entrepreneur, you started your business and
Yes.
everything. So that's pretty cool. I thought it was cool to bring her on. So Brandon, tell us what got you going in that direction?
I'm an IT guy turned entrepreneur. And when I was a teenager, I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
And anybody that hasn't heard of that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's about what the rich teach their kids that the poor and the middle class don't. Because the poor and the middle class can't because they weren't taught those lessons. So ever since then, I worked full time in IT and I had this side business on nights and weekends. And one night I realized I started a pattern. And it's the same pattern that a lot of us start when we get into our businesses. Problem is, just like me, we don't see the pattern until it's too late, or we're trapped inside it with seemingly no way out. And that pattern was doing everything myself. So in my side business, I was the sales guy, I was the website guy, I was the IT guy, I was the customer service guy, I was the accountant, I was the legal counsel. I'm doing all these things and wearing all these hats. And my problem was um, I didn't realize I was wearing all these hats until I realized what little time I had left in my day, you know. And because we have the same 24 hours in a day as everybody else, something had to change. And for me, I couldn't sacrifice more of my sleep, so something else had to change. So, meanwhile, at my full time job, we had this checklist we used to track our daily processes. So, somebody would do something, they'd complete a task, I would review it, and then I'd put my initials on the checklist. And then somebody else would complete a task, or I'd complete a task, and they'd review it and put their initials on the checklist. And well, eventually it hit me that I needed a checklist for my business because that way, if I ever hire help, they'll know exactly what to do the way that I do it, and the results will be just the same. Kind of like a recipe.
Right.
So one day I wrote one of my activities, one of my daily duties, one of my tasks out on a sheet of paper. Step one, step two, step three. And through the magic of technology, I hired somebody on Facebook and I scanned that sheet of paper in and I sent it to them through Facebook. Well, a week goes by and hours of freed up time go by and $50, to pay the person. And that task got completed pretty much to perfection, like better than I could, but I didn't have to put my hands on it. So, not only did I get a chance to create a job for somebody, but I got my time back in the process. So my next thought was, well, what if I do this for other businesses? So I started writing operating procedures for other businesses and helping them manage their workflow. And to keep it to keep it light, the term operating procedure, that's like a technical term. It means a recipe. A recipe's got ingredients and amounts and instructions. The same is true of what you do in your business. You've got ingredients, amounts, and instructions. So I was writing people's recipes for how they ran their business, basically. And I quickly turned that into a business of my own that's called getsops.com. And I created systems and I hired a small team to run that operation in my place. So that freed me up to start a newsletter in August of 2020 called Recipes for Business, where I teach people how to delegate, automate, outsource, and scale what they do in their businesses the same way I could with mine.
Wow, that's genius.
Right.
Just talking about how
It
like
is.
there's never enough time in the day, and I'm just like, man, I just have so much that it seems like nothing's getting done, and it
Yep.
really seems like nothing is, but there is, but it's I don't do anything. I sit here in front of it, and I know I need to be like spending more time with my son. You know what I mean? Like these last
Right.
few weeks, more and more. So I know she's like, you know what I mean? She has so much going on, and I'm pretty sure she's got her stuff more together than I do. But
I mean,
I'm listening to him because it sounds good. Because I be need
yeah,
techniques. I got so much going on. I'd be like, oh, I need
yeah,
to hire somebody. I can't wait. So I get to that point. I
man.
just be all over.
Amen. I tell you, it's like it's crazy too. You guys, because you know the feeling where it's kind of feeling like you know what's what, and you're trapped. You're trying to get out to. You're not trying to quit your business. You still want to run it. You're making a difference in the world. You guys are helping people get a result. But you're doing so much, and there's only so much of you left. Like,
Yes.
what time do you have for the son or the daughter or the spouse or the activity you want to do, the hobbies you want to do? Like, so how do you get out of that? And that was never taught to me. At least nobody came out and talked about it. Like, how do I get from I started my business to if I want to go on a trip for a week, it'll be just fine. How do I go from I started my business to I don't have to put out any fires to I don't have to do all these things by myself? Like, how do you get there? And nobody was talking about
I
that.
need to know what's the secret. What's the
I'm,
secret?
I'm saying, okay,
I need
yes,
to know how to get there.
yes. So let me, if I may, I can jump into that. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So I'll fill in those gaps. All right. So what I found out was you start out by doing this exercise, and you can do this is an exercise you can do kind of depending on your situation every week, every month, whatever. But you're going to make 3 different lists. We all know what it's like to make a to-do list. Like, I got to get this stuff done. You make your to-do list for your life. You make a list for your groceries or errands you need to run. But in your business, you're going to make 3 lists. The first one's called a to-do list. The second one, excuse me, is a to delegate list. And then the third one is a to do away with list.
I like that.
So you need a to do list, a to delegate list, and a to do away with list. And because of that, I call this exercise do it, delegate it, do away with it. So now that you know the list you need to make, here's how you fill up those lists. Here's how you get stuff on it. And here's how the exercise goes. Whenever you need to do something in your business, and I'm going to take an example. Let's say you need to call up your clients to do a checkup, see how they're doing, whatever. Let's say that's one of your activities or something. The first thing you ask yourself before you do that is this something I enjoy doing? Is this activity I'm doing in my business something I enjoy? So with the example of calling your clients for a checkup or onboard them, whatever, do I enjoy doing that? Does it fulfill me to do that? Okay, that's question number 1. Question number 2 is this income generating? The reason question number 2 is important is obvious is because, sales and cash flow, that's the lifeblood of our businesses. So it's calling up my clients to check on them, see if they got questions. Is that an income generating activity? That's the second question. The third and the final question is this an obligation? Do I have to do this in order to move the business forward, move my customers forward? Do I have to do this in order to, make sure I can just keep the doors open, whatever that may be? So you take that activity and you ask yourself the questions: do I enjoy doing this? Is it income generating? Is it an obligation? Your answers to each of those questions will tell you what list it goes on, right? So let's assume that you enjoy doing this. Well, you can put it right on your to-do list. I enjoy calling up clients and, working out their problems, customer service, let's call it that. I enjoy the customer service part and working out their problems. Okay, perfect. That's on your to-do list. But what if you don't like it? What if you don't enjoy doing it? Well, is that you ask, is that an income generating activity? Well, what if you don't call your clients and find out what their problems are? That could be money walking out the door. Because hey, that you didn't listen, you're not listening to me, or I got this suggestion, you won't implement it because you won't call me, whatever the problem is. You find out that that's an income generating activity, but it's not one that you enjoy. So that would probably be something you put on your to delegate list. And then you find out a way to delegate it. It still gets done. I don't enjoy doing it, so I don't really want to touch it, but we still, like, we'll lose money if we don't do it. Let me delegate that out to somebody I can trust, right? The third question, let's say that it's not income generating. Is it an obligation? There's some stuff you do in your business that you have to do, but it doesn't necessarily contribute to the bottom line, but you still need to do it. Like you need to keep records. You need to keep your receipts. You need to know how much money's coming in and out of the door, or maybe you have to set up a website. Maybe you need to pay your rent. It could be any of those things. You have to do those things. They don't necessarily make you money. You don't really necessarily enjoy doing it,
Mhm.
but it's still an obligation. That's also something that could go on a to delegate list. So it opens up a world of choices about how you handle what goes on in your business. It could now, as far as that to do away with list I told you about, let's say that it's an activity like you need to change the colors on your website or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. Some of us I've gotten wrapped up before in doing like that little stuff that I don't need to be messing with. I'll spend too much time like, okay, okay, so you hear me. Yeah. So it's like like maybe I need to, change the language on my website, or I want to add a picture or something like that. I don't always enjoy doing that. Maybe I do, but it doesn't contribute to the bottom line, and I don't really have to do that in order for the business to move forward. So that may be something that hits my to do away with list. So again, just a brief recap of this exercise. You want to create a to do list, a to delegate list, and a to do away with list. And to figure out what goes on those lists, you take one activity at a time. Take one thing you do in your business and say, do I enjoy doing it? Is it income generating? Is it an obligation? And then your answer tells you what list it goes on. Take the next activity in your business. Do I enjoy doing it? Is it income generating? Is it an obligation? Put that on whatever list it goes on. And then so on. And then this is the beginning of breaking those chains. This is the beginning of how you take the hats off. And the reason this exercise helps you do that is because it helps you focus on what's called the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. And it's about, where do I focus my energy so I can be productive instead of busy? Where do I focus my energy so I can take that extra stuff off my plate? Even if it's important, it still gets done, but I don't have to touch it anymore. And that could free me up to have that extra hour at night with my family. That could free me up to take those 2 days off next week that I've never been able to take since I started the business. That could get my team on the same page. If you have a team already, maybe the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And this is the
Mhm.
beginning of getting everybody in sync there. So I would start with that exercise, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, sure. I was gonna ask you that too. Like, is this something like you apply like with your team, or would it be like something like each each party in the team will have to probably end up having a list, or you know what I mean? Like, would it be a group thing, or could it turn out to be a group and an individual thing?
It can be a group and an individual thing, ideally. Get with the group, talk about, hey, this is the thing that we're going to roll with, and then maybe have every individual do their own three lists, if you know what I mean. You'll
Yeah.
have the three lists for the group, and then maybe have the each member of the team do each of their own three lists, and then you guys can come together. That's another way to build camaraderie with the team and
Mhm.
keep everybody on the same wavelength, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's a really powerful thing.
Yeah. I like that. Wow. What about you, Kiana? You got any questions over there?
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm up here taking notes because
Okay.
I need
Yeah.
it. I need it.
Yeah, that's genius. Because that is like that's like you start there because that's where the breakdown, like that's where the heap of it is. Like everybody's like, oh my God, I got so much. And then you just spend more time saying how much you have to do. Actually, just say, but nothing gets done.
Right.
It really feels like you're stuck, or like you just don't. Like so much is going on. You're like, oh, I gotta do this.
Right. Yeah. It's
Every
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and it like it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. If you're in business or you started one, first of all, kudos to you for starting a business, man. It takes some courage for us to do what we do. I tell you,
Yeah.
you guys
Ooh,
know,
I'm
man.
just doing it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to learn
absolutely.
along the way.
Yep.
and I keep taking more stuff like a throw. Like, well, why do you keep taking on more if you haven't even spread this out? I just telling her I just keep taking stuff and it's kind of what I do. But it's
Yeah.
just it's kind of insane though, right?
No, I get it. It is, and it does. You're not starting your business thinking, hey, I'm gonna take on the world and I'm gonna spin a bunch of plates at the same time. We're not thinking that stuff. But you think about a lot of us got into this because we're good at something, right? Maybe we came out of the corporate world and say we're tired of our boss and like I can go out on my own and do this. Or maybe you've got a passion or a hobby you want to turn into a business. Maybe that's how it got you there. But the problem is when you go out into the world with what you're good at, you take what you're good at to build a business around what you're good at. It's more than just doing what you're good at. You got to do these other things around it because you're building this structure around it. So now I got to learn how to do accounting for this thing that I'm good at, money coming in, money going out, all this. Now I got to worry about, hey, do I set up an LLC or what's this C corp thing, this corporation thing I hear about? Is it what's the difference between all the, you got to learn all that and get that stuff down. And now you also have to learn stuff like, again, customer service we touched on. You got to learn about, marketing. That's a whole other animal, you know.
Yes.
And then by the by the way, folks, there's a difference between marketing and sales. So that's a whole other part of the animal, right? So these are the things. It's like you have to get new skills, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean. You can't just be the thing that you're skilled at. You're developing new skills to put a structure around this thing you're good at.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, a business is, if you want your business to be successful the way it deserves to be successful, what I recommend is building it this way. A business is run by systems, and systems are run by people. Now, if you want that person to just be you, that's great. But if you ever need a hand
No,
to
there's
make
people that
sure,
pulling up.
yes, all the
Yeah,
above, yes.
yeah,
So, yeah,
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I went to school for like marketing, like business, and then they broke it down in all those like accounting, marketing, like customer services and all that stuff. And like marketing was like the one for me, because I like to like who's your audience, what I mean, this and that,
yes,
but the talking part, like I could talk, but like that'd probably be the one where I'd be like, you take care of that. I want to market. I want to come up with the, what I mean, the
yes,
creative and so
yeah.
yeah.
I like that. That reminds me of like they think because you develop your own flavor when you do marketing. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're taking a course or you're in school or something, you learn marketing, right? But the way you market your thing is the way
Yeah.
you market your thing, right? So I think you really have even a recipe for how you market your business, right? So
Mhm.
it's that kind of thing. It's like, what are my ingredients?
Yeah.
How do
I
I put
like
all
it.
this together?
Yeah. So excited. Yeah. What you got you thinking, Kiana? Because she started her book and with photography and sells accessories. So that sounds like those are three different areas for her. So it's like that would be well, so would she have like those three different areas with three lists, or could those three be, you know what I mean? Like would that be
Right.
like three in that one, three in that one, three in that one, or would it
Right.
be
Yeah,
okay?
right. So Cal, let me answer that with a question. Do these three things feed each other? Do they serve the same purpose, these three things? Or are they like different industries? Like, what's that look like?
Yes, different industry.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So I would say you'll create three lists for each thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
see what you said. Yeah. Okay.
Where we're talking about multiples, I'm not trying to go that route, but
Multiples.
I'm just,
Right. Different things.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying
I
to give her. I'm like, give her a lot of work. So I'm not playing.
no, yeah, I won't go that route. No, yeah,
So what do you do? Okay, so like in my accessory, I do like pop up shops. I travel around, but now I'm thinking of doing a website because I think that's kind of tiring me out. It's like it's not making the money I want, and I'm
right.
like I'm gonna gear towards the website. I don't know. It feel like I'm doing a lot, but I'm not profiting. Like I'm just working, and I don't see it. I'm like some gonna have to give another area something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're running on that business owner hamster wheel that we've all been on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. What would a website do for you?
generate income.
Okay.
Another platform, I guess. I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. So let's try an example. So my first business is called getsops.com. That's that thing where I was doing the operating procedures. And here's what that looked like. I used to go into people's businesses, like I'd drive across town or whatever, get in my car and spend some time with them at their office. We do like an initial meeting, one-on-one meeting or whatever, or I'd meet with their team. And then over those next few weeks, I would come back to their office and like spend some time with them. I'd interview them and shadow them so I could find out what their recipes are.
Mhm.
Well, COVID-19 came around and well, meeting in person it
Yeah.
became a different experience, right? So I had to figure out a way to get creative. And I thought at the time, what's a way that I could take this online? What's a way that I can make this more effective? Because before pre-COVID, like I say, I'm walking into their offices and when they're ready to pay me, they'll write me a check. Okay, so I got this check. I'm running to the bank now. Got to make sure I get to the bank before it closes, make sure I got all this stuff straight, give them the receipt, all this. That's called the technical term for that, folks, is accounts receivable for those who aren't familiar with that stuff. But I had to deal with that accounts receivable process. I was like, is there a way for me to make this faster or easier? Or is there a way for me to do this with less work? Well, COVID allowed me to kind of take the business online. That's where I'm thinking about let me build a website. What if somebody could go on my website and pay me instead of having to hand me a check? Because now I don't have to worry about the trip to the bank. Now I don't have to worry about maybe losing the check on the way to the bank. Now I don't have to get back home after the bank and then, put it up in my spreadsheet. Somebody goes to my website, they pay me, the money hits my bank account, and it updates my spreadsheet automatically. How can I make all that happen? So what I'm getting at is it's important to know your why for putting the website together, like you just talked about, generate more income, more revenue. For me, setting up a website meant not only can I serve people statewide, I can serve people nationwide now
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
because of the website. I can pull them in from any place, whether that's like if we hop on social media, if that's something that you've messed with, getting on social media and reaching out to people there, whether it's doing advertising, whether it's being on a podcast,
Yes.
any of those things, now you've got a place where anybody can go
Yeah.
because I'm sure there are people that you're meant to serve that are not just in your state.
Right.
Right. So this gives you an opportunity to reach all of those people. So that could be a good why for you. And
Yeah.
because you can reach these extra people, that generates more income.
Mhm.
And then if you also get a website, that gives you more opportunities for the people you would meet in person at your pop-up shops. So like just talking out loud here, thinking out loud. What if at the pop-up shop you say, "Hey, I got this sheet of paper here. Can you write down your email address? I'm just going to send you some information like a discount, a coupon,
Oh, well, that's
um,
good. I know. I ain't think about
you know."
that.
And now you've got right. So now you got an email. You can ask them for their physical address. That's fine. But with the email, they can hear from you 24/7
Okay.
from anywhere because it's hitting their inbox. Right. It's like, hey, yeah, I'll send you a discount in a week. And just write down your email here, and then you load up that email, and now you've got something where you can communicate with them as often as you want without having to physically see them.
Right.
Not
That's good.
Yeah, not that that's bad. I mean, we still want to see people, we still want, but this could give you some of your time back. Kiana.
Right. Yes. That's a
Yeah,
good idea. I thank you for that information.
yeah,
Look.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she can do like, unless you like enjoy like, getting out and doing the, because that's what a pop up, I guess that would require you to go pop up, right? But to give you more your time, you can like create like obviously a pop-up shop on your website, to even get more creative to make it, because you can get all virtual. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and do stuff that you can't really do when you go out there, and then they feel like, oh, I can go to a pop-up shop, you don't have to go nowhere, and
Right.
then
I
you're like
know. I'm
entertainment,
I'm
all
trying to
that.
do that too. Like
Yeah.
Okay.
not going anywhere. I mean, it's starting to wear on me. Like physically taking this stuff in and out, back and forth. I got to find another way to do it. It's a lot.
Right.
So
Right.
that's
I,
trying to find.
I think about what this could look like for you, because the whole thing with technology, like getting online and all that, we're not trying to replace the human experience. We're trying to enhance it, right? So, like we say, this could get you in front of them more often. It looks different because, it could be, maybe you could record a video, email them that, and say, "Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kiana. I'm still here. I got some great stuff for you now. Whatever that looks like. Maybe you could, have one of the products in your
That's
hand,
good.
part of the pop-up shop, all these
That's
creative
good.
things, and
Yeah.
once things settle out a little bit more with COVID, what if you send them another email saying, "By the way, guys, I got an in-person pop-up shop coming up in 3 months. It's going to be here. We're going to be doing this. Don't forget to be there. By the way, here's a coupon. You know,
Yeah. Look at
and
you.
and now you got this thing to fill up your pop-up shops even faster than maybe you could have before, which can
Right.
take some work off your shoulders. Is the hope, right?
Yes,
So,
I like that, Brandon. Look at you. I like them ideas. I'm
yeah,
like
Yeah,
that.
that's so cool. And they can like go to your website and see like you have videos, any like you know what I mean, where they can go just see what's going on, like your daily video or something. Like, see what Kiana talking about.
yeah,
That's so
Yeah, I need. I'm glad you said that because I'm trying to find another avenue. I'm like to reach people.
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, there's that opens up a whole bunch of doors for you, and there's some other things too. Those two things were a couple of the things that I did, and then I had to take it a step further. So I don't want anybody drinking through a fire hose, but like there's more to this, by the way. There's more to this. There's like another level, another level, another level. So I'll touch briefly on the next level. The next thing that I had to do personally was onboarding people. The onboarding process, obviously you're getting people acquainted with your product, with your service, how you do things. You're kind of getting them and telling them this is what your relationship with my business will be like. This is what your relationship with me will be like. That's your onboarding, right? So you're kind of setting the table. And for me, that process used to be all in person. I'd still have to, somebody handed me the check, right? I go deposit the check. Now I got to onboard them. I'm going back to their office, maybe doing a bunch of phone calls. They got to give me some information, like some paperwork. I got to give them paperwork. All this back and forth. Well, when COVID allowed me to move things online, I had to figure out how to make the onboarding easier too. So I found a way that I had to think about like the details. Like when somebody pays me, they need a receipt. They need to know what they paid me for. On my receipt, I need to break down what they're getting from me. So for me, it was services, right? And then this package, and that package has services inside of it. So I needed to be able to break that down on a receipt, so we know what our milestones are, we know what we're hitting. Well, I was actually typing that out, and I was printing it out and then giving it to them. Well, when I took things online, I found out a way to make that process happen automatically. There was software tools that I was able to research where as soon as somebody goes to the website, orders the service, they automatically get the receipt that's already itemized with everything on it. And now that's in their record and it's in my record and we can move forward. And then the next thing is I need a way for you to I need a way for you to tell me your recipes. I need a way to learn your recipes without being inside your office. How do I do that? So a client showed me one day, they weren't even trying to. A client sent me some videos one day. They sent me some videos of they had some construction crews. It was a construction company. They had a construction company and their crews were working in the field. And they sent me a video of them working in the field. Actually, they were actually creating their recipes in the field. They were actually doing it in the field. And I got video of that. And they sent me that video, and that was video of their actual recipes. So now I was able to write them out, make them pretty, all that kind of stuff. This eliminated the need for me to have to physically go to their office to perform the service for them. I could be at home performing the service, or I could be at a coffee shop performing the service, and then I could just send it to them in an email or put it on the website so they could download it. So those are the types of things that I had to do. And I won't go too deep into that, but the stuff that I had to do in person, I now was able to do online. And the reason that that was important is because it took the extra work off my shoulders. It eliminated the extra legwork, eliminated the extra gas, eliminated the extra hoops we had to jump through. It eliminated the back and forth conversations where they had to tell me the same thing over and over again. They could tell it once and I got it, and then we could roll with it. And that gave me a new recipe for creating recipes. So, so now I had a recipe for making recipes. And because of that I was able to share that with a team of my own. This gave me the ability to start delegating myself. So now I had my own to-do list, to delegate list, to do away with list. So I gave you that long-winded example because this is what my brain this is what was happening in my brain when I was trying to make my lists, right? And this is how I came up with because this exercise didn't exist before. So I had to come up with it through experience, right? So I was like, well, how did I get here? I had to figure out how I got here because I want to help other people get here, without having to go through all the stuff I did. So that's what it became. So that's how I came up with, okay, what do I enjoy doing? What generates income for the business? What do I have to do for the business? And then that's how this exercise came together for me.
I'm on video. Move.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was listening and then I like it. Then I got to thinking, because when I did my website, like I told Kiauna, I was like, I wanted it to be my one-stop shop for anything and everything, because I like to do a lot of stuff, like a lot of different stuff, but that can get chaotic too, because it's like, well, what do I do? Where do I start? And okay, so there's the bullying. I advocate for bullying. That always was the thing, and my podcast, because of what I went through with my son and everything. So that's on there and that's going. But then I have my website, right? I'm not my podcast, but also have a radio show with two or three other people. They have their own shows. So that's like, I have to nurture mine with the other shows. And then there's that show with them. And then the duties I have within that group to make the website, do all that stuff. And then there's my passion. Like I think I told Kiauna, like sometimes when I'm supposed to be like working and stuff, I feel like I have like this other life where I'm like, I step away from the computer, but I go online, I go like save people that are being bullied. I go into these, TikToks and stuff, get on the bullies, and like nobody knows I do this. I don't tell anybody this. They really don't.
Man. Yeah, you need to start teaching, Brandy. I tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do that stuff because it really, that's my, like to help people, I just like really like helping people that need to be helped, and that's the way I help them. So that's like the core of everything is me just really wanting to help people, but I know I got to take care of the business, but you can't like shoot me in the leg for like wanting to take care of people. So
right. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like that reminds me of I don't know if anybody watches Tyler Perry or how long you've been watching his work, but he's got stories about back in the day before he owned 330 acres in Atlanta and before he employed 600 people of color, before all the success and everything. When he used to do his plays, he'd get a theater and whatever, and he'd be lucky if 10 people would show up. If you can believe that about Tyler Perry. But he had beginnings too. But the reason I bring that up is because it makes me think about being on stage, and you're one of the people that performs. It's a play or something, right? And maybe you perform 3 different characters, right? So in order to perform character A, you got to change into this costume, and you come out on stage, you do your piece. Later on in the show, your character B, you got to change costumes, come out on the stage, and do that piece. And then later on in the show, your character C, and you got to change costumes, come out on stage, and do that piece. Think of these different things that you're doing, your radio show, helping people with bullying, and whatever else you're doing, as your costume changes, which means you're not coming on stage wearing all three costumes. I mean, I don't know any actors or actresses that did that personally. Wearing all three costumes, you wear one costume at a time, play one part at a time. So let's take websites for an example. If you got three different businesses, those are three different costumes. So you need a website for each business. That's what I recommend. That'll keep because for a couple of reasons. Number one, imagine what it's like. You come out on stage with all three costumes, and you got the script for all three characters, and you're like, well, okay, I'm just going to bounce from one to one or whatever. And then imagine what that's like for the audience. We've all been in an audience before, right? Imagine what that's like for the audience. Brandy or Kiauna comes out. Okay, so she's playing three different characters, guys, and these are the three. Like maybe you got one costume draped over your shoulder, you're wearing one, or you're wearing a combination, and like, here are my lines for this one, and here's that would be confusing for the audience as much as it would be busy and crazy for you, or it would be confusing for the audience as much as it would be chaotic for you. But if you have a website for each thing you do, a website for each business, that's one costume at a time, one script to read at a time, which means as your consumer, I can absorb one thing at a time. I can absorb the thing you want me to focus on right now. Right now, it could be the bullying, or at another time, it could be, hey, here's the radio show, or at another time, it could be this thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that'll reduce any clutter or chaos for you, and it'll make it less confusing to the people you're trying to serve.
True. Because then I can focus on one, because I get distracted because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go over here. And then it didn't make sense to me, but because I know I'm looking at like the drop down, like, okay, this page is over here, this is over there, but they don't see it that way. They're like, you know what I mean? I have to, so that does make sense that they would be like all over the place. Because I'm thinking, oh, they can find it because it clearly says click here page.
Yes, yeah, you're right. So a lot of people have short attention spans. Let's be honest. A lot of us. I mean, we've all been
I
guilty.
know I do sometimes.
Okay, see, that's me too. I do sometimes too, and it's just one of those things. And we're not setting out to be like that, but we live in a world where there's a lot of information, and there's a lot coming at us. So what we try to do, we got to filter through it. And the way a lot of us filter through it is we focus on what matters to us first. You know what I'm saying? Like, we make the time for the stuff that matters to us first, and then the rest is the rest. We may see it, we may not, whatever. If what matters to me at the time is my daughter is coming home from school crying because she was bullied again today or again this week, and the teacher won't listen, even though they're the one that started the fight with my daughter, and now I got to go deal with all that. That's something that I'm going to be focused on. I'm going to have my ears open to that. If my thing is, I love shopping at pop-up shops, because there's always good stuff there. And I'm looking for a deal, or I'm looking for something cool, or something fun. My ears and my eyes are open to that. So if I see the website that's telling me, hey, by the way, here's this cool pop-up shop with so on and so forth, that's the kind of thing I'll focus on. So that's part of the reason that, wear one costume at a time, play one part at a time. You can be all these parts, but play one part at a time, right? And so that's what I had to do for me. So that's why getsops.com, my first business, that's a service. Recipes for Business, that's a newsletter. Those are two separate things. They're both under my LLC, but those are two separate identities, two separate brands. So getsops.com is about this. Recipesforbusiness.com is about this, right? So, and if you want to see like everything I'm doing, then I guess you can just go to my social media or whatever. But you will know that Brandon Turner plays a different part at a different time, depending on what you need, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's perfect sense, actually. Yeah. I'm happy you came on here today, because
we needed it today. I needed
I'm like
it.
so tired right now.
No,
Me
I love
too.
it. Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. I love connecting with with like minds like this too, and I just appreciate the opportunity to share some of this stuff because again, I just what it's like when you do business, you kind of feel alone. You feel like you're by yourself.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
we've got family, we've got friends, right? We can talk about this stuff, but do they really get it? They don't always get our fears, our challenges, our ambition. Why are you
Right.
taking this risk when you can just get a safe, secure job? What what
Yes.
Right.
what what are you thinking going out and setting this up what are you doing putting up these pop-up shops? Who are you to try to solve bullying, or who are you
Right.
to try to fix this problem or that problem? It's like, I mean, why don't you just do something realistic, that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And
Go be a
and
robot.
then you right, yeah, yeah, go be a robot, right? And then you find people like us who get each other. You find people like us who have like minds, and it's that sense of community. That's another lesson I personally learned. It's like you got to get around like-minded people who get you, who
Yeah.
are you, or who wear the shoes that you're about to wear, right? Because somebody may be in a place that you're trying to get to. You're on the come up, and what's next? They're there. That's been invaluable. You know.
That's
And I'm
very
just
good.
watching both of y'all two. I'm new to this stuff, so I'm just watching y'all two. It's like y'all get it.
Oh,
You doing good.
I'm new to this. I'm learning. Brandy is teaching me. I'm like,
You got
I've
shoot.
been
You got this.
tuning in. I'm trying to learn
this,
different
You got,
different
you got
avenues.
each other.
I love this. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I no, I'm with you, Kiana, because I was. I mean, I remember what that feels like. When you're new to it. For me, there was a little bit of scariness. I'll be honest with you. I was a
Mhm.
little bit scared because you're raised your whole life to be a robot or be realistic, right?
Right.
Don't take these crazy risks.
Yes.
Put your family at risk, your friends, all this kind of stuff. Make the sacrifices that we make, right? I mean, gosh, going to the pop-up shops, that's one of a few things you do, I know, but I keep going back to that example because I think about what that must have been for you to drive, to set up, to tear down,
Yes.
interact with people, and now you got to do it
Yes.
over here, and then there's over here. Oh, and by the way, I got to start it the next week, and it's
Yes.
right.
It's a lot. Like I'm just it get overwhelming sometimes. I'm like, then I be thinking like, what am I doing it for? Like I enjoy it sometimes, but I'm like, no, it's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I had those days where I wanted to quit. My wife
Yes.
my wife had to talk me out of it. Friends had to talk me out of it so many times. I don't say that to deter anybody. I'm just trying to say that what we do is not for everybody,
Yeah.
You're right.
and that's okay. It takes a certain type of perseverance, a certain type of something in you. But it's one of those things about picking yourself up when you fall on your face. How many times are you willing to do that? Like and so it's about that. Does the goal mean enough to you that you're willing to keep going, that you're willing to keep going when you want to quit, all of these things? And at some point you got to figure out, well, what's got me stuck? What am I stuck on? What's in my way? How do I break a glass ceiling? How do I break a brick wall? How do I take this next step, whatever? And I think when we can put our heads together, that's where some of the ideas flow, and um, we can kind of feed off each other's experience, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Um, and that's been a great benefit to me. So that's part of the reason that I started the Recipes for Business weekly newsletter. So every week I talk about how you delegate, automate, outsource, get out of your own way, take off the extra hats. Hey, so it could be like, so when somebody goes to recipesforbusiness.com, you got a couple of things you can do. You can sign up for the newsletter, or you can look at a past newsletter to see what it looks like and then sign up, right? So every week I'll send you something like, hey, here's this really cool story from this lady in Indiana that did this. And that same newsletter will also say, hey, by the way, here's a recipe that you can use in your business that does that.
Mm.
Oh, and also, if you want to network with this group of people that's doing this next week, here's where there will be. Here's where these people will be. Here's what time, and here's bring your favorite food or whatever, that kind of thing. So it's there's something in every newsletter, different things, tools, resources, content, but also that exercise I told you about. So I talked about onboarding earlier. Whenever somebody signs up for the Recipes for Business newsletter, there's a 5-day challenge that starts,
Okay,
which
she
means,
just signed up, right?
yeah,
You said she signed up already, did right? You,
Did who
you. I
did
said
I
you signed
sign
up.
up?
Mm-hmm.
No.
They started it. Okay, I thought I said. I know I sent. I know I
I went
started it.
online. I went on there, but I don't know where you go.
Try.
I, I
You know
looked
exactly.
around.
I think there might
Oh,
have been some issues with the website earlier, but I put it
oh,
in the private chat if you see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
But when you sign up, we do an exercise. It's a 5-day exercise. So like every day you get an email. I told you it's a weekly newsletter, but for the first 5 days, we send you something every day for this exercise I told you about. And in we're doing the do it, delegate it, do away with it exercise. So for those next 5 days, it helps you do that exercise. And I've got some worksheets and stuff that you can download while you do them.
Cool.
Um, so that way you can see everything that we talked about a little bit earlier on the show. You'll be able to
Mm-hmm.
see it and like fill out your own little spreadsheet. You can fill out your list, type it out, print it and write it out, whatever. I got a package of all of those worksheets there so you can see it at a glance. That's the thing that I use. So I like pull out my worksheets on my computer and I'll type up what I got to do for that month and what's going to go on my list for that month. And then after that 5 days is up, then the weekly newsletter starts and you can start, okay, so how do I delegate this? How do I do this? How do I, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I like that. Okay. So when I say like we're off, when I subscribe tonight, then it's gonna start me with the 5 day. You can get me prepared into the newsletter, and so I'll like have it in my. I already like know it's going. Be prepared, more prepared for it, right?
yes, exactly. Yeah. It's crazy because like it's I love that I get to do what I teach and
Mhm.
what I learn from my clients. So like the first thing I had to think about, if you guys can follow me while I walk through this, I had to think about what happens after somebody signs up for the newsletter. I had to think about that. It's like, okay, well, you want to know what's next. You want to know what to expect by getting it. So I got to tell them that. And I got to show them, hey, here's what's going to happen next. And over the next few days, we do this. So I put all that together. And then I was like, I want people to be able to go through this exercise step by step, right? So let's spread it out over 5 days and take one piece at a time, right? And I want people to be able to see their progress, right? So let me create some worksheets that they can download and they can do it over and over again. So it all those little things that I did in my first business and that I did for clients' businesses, I wanted to do for this one too, because that's how we make our customers' experiences better, if you know what I mean. You
Mhm.
know, it's kind of thinking about those details out loud. Um, so yeah, so just your feedback will be great. I'm just an email away. So
Okay.
whenever somebody signs up, you can just hit reply on any newsletter or whatever. And yeah, so it's
That's
been good.
amazing.
It's a passion project. I'll say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Great idea. Very like it got me excited because
Right.
it just made it so much clearer. Like it made sense.
It do.
I just one here, what like one at a time, basically, like one roll, and I'm like, oh, that's right. And it
Yeah.
feels better too. Just me thinking about approaching it that way, it just feels like it took a load off of me already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me
That's
too.
good. That's what I'm in it for. Let's take the load off all of us, please.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know.
Please.
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. One of the things I love is I get to like when people get to where their business can run without them. And by this, folks, we're not talking about like you got to quit, you have to sell it, you got to get out. That's not what that means. But if you want to step away for a week, you can step away for a week, right? If you want to let somebody else handle it, they can handle it, and you go focus on, I don't know, marketing or whatever you want to do. Your goal is going to look for what's right for you. And I get to hear these great stories from people. So like, so either one of you, Brandy, Kiana, what's that look like for you when you get where you want to go? Like, what's it like when you're making all the money you want and you
Step
got all the
out,
time
step
you want?
away for about
Okay.
2 weeks. Let it run itself.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I'm gone, I get the woo. Woosah.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be just be able to step away. I'd be able to not have my son pace back and forth and look at me to see if I'm still doing the same thing. Just like puppy puppy. Like I could be back there, but definitely that because I feel that's the, you know what I mean? And I know he gets it, but he doesn't. That's a sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like it's. I'm like tell him like it's gonna pay off. I'm doing this. You know what I mean? For a
Yes.
very good reason. You know, I wouldn't do it if I didn't know that it was worth it. You know.
Yes.
Right.
So that definitely would be something that I would make sure. I still try to do now because you got to take every day, especially with your kids. You can't really, you gotta get that time in there.
Yes.
But I truly want to be able to spend, and not have to worry about anything else. Just hang out with him if that's what he wants. Which, no worries.
Yeah. Our son is 19 now. And I remember when I'm glad you brought that up about kids because that's like actually, Brandy, you could do a show on kids and business, running a business when you've got kids,
Yes.
And one of the things you were talking about explaining this to him, it's like why it's important that you're doing this and what it will mean for both of you, for him, for yourself, which is another important piece. I remember trying to explain what I did to our son, and I said it like this. I had to tell him a story because I was like, if I can't explain this on a fifth grade level, then I think I'm in trouble, right? So imagine you and your friend live in a village, and in this village, your friend lives in one house, you live in another, and in order to get water, you have to go you have to go away from the village and go across this field or whatever to this river, and you got to bring some buckets and scoop up the water and bring it back to your house, and that's how you guys get water. And you have to do this every day, 5 days a week. Take your buckets, go to the river, scoop up some water, bring it back to the house. This is what it's like to have a 9 to 5 job, because if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. If you don't take these buckets and go to the river, you have no water to drink. And you can't grow we can't grow our food either without that water, right? So what if one day you go to the river and your friend goes to the river? He comes back with his buckets, but you don't come back. We don't see you for a week or whatever, or we see you every now and then, but we don't see you that often. And we find out that 2, 3 weeks later, you come back and what you were doing instead of scooping up that water with the buckets is you were building a pipeline from the river into your house. So you took some time away and you started building this pipeline, and this pipeline connects from the river to your house. So the water from the river flows into your pipeline and hits your house. And now you don't have to carry buckets to the river anymore.
Mm.
This is the transition that you're making when you go from having a job to building a business. Because what you're building with your business is a pipeline that sends the water from the river directly into your house. Now, while your neighbor, is still taking buckets to and from the river 5 days a week, you never have to carry buckets again. But
Mm.
the water still flows into your house. It still waters your crops, and you can still feed yourselves, right? So when I explained it to him like that, he understood why I had to be away for a little bit. Away from him, by that I mean like I see him every day, right? But like it's hours of work, right? That's what it was, right? But I was building the pipeline. But once I got the pipeline built and I plugged up all the leaks and made sure the water was flowing, now I don't even have to run the business anymore. I don't have to carry buckets or run the business anymore because the water just flows through the pipeline,
Mm.
you know.
That's it.
So that is this is why the do it, delegate it, do away with it exercise is so important, because we can get trapped in our business too. You know, with your business you can make more money. So what that means for you is your bucket's bigger. The bucket you take to the river is just bigger. That's nice, but if you could have a pipeline instead. And then let's say you build one pipeline. I'm going to go start another business while Kiana's got all this free time. She's going to go start another one, and Brandy's going to go start another one. They're going to go build another pipeline. So now they got two pipelines flowing into the house.
Yes.
Heck, while I'm at it, let me make sure the grandkids are taken care of. Let's get two more pipelines in. By this
Right.
time, you've got your kids getting involved. It's like, hey, mom, dad, I want to go build a pipeline with you.
Got a
Sweet.
piece of that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's roll. All right, we're all taken care of. Nice. So yeah, that's
Yes.
what keeps me. Kind of like we touched on in those moments where you want to quit. That's what kept me from not quitting. I'm building a pipeline,
I know that's right.
and I'm
I'm
not
gonna
going to
use
stop.
it. I got
Yeah,
it.
I won't stop till it's built. Yeah,
I like that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be using it. I like that, and I'm gonna have to come back and listen. Keep
yeah,
listening to it over.
right.
Remember
I
what
love
you
it.
said, cause
Yeah, I love it. I love it. This is perfect. Like I feel so like before I used to be like, okay, so much to do. Like somebody will say my name, like what is it? What?
right,
Okay.
right. Yeah,
So I
yep,
say to him all day long, and I'm thinking like, say all day long, like I'm just like, he's not bothering me, but why do I act like it?
sure.
Because there's like so much to, you know what I mean? One thing comes in and then the other leaves, and I'm like, you should see me.
yeah,
It's not healthy.
Yeah, you're
At
trying to
all.
find that where's my do not disturb sign, but
Right.
right.
It's coming at that pivotal moment where like something is, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have to do that. So
yes,
yeah, I don't want to do that
it's
like
like
that
yeah,
anymore.
I'm not trying to you're not trying to be that you're not trying to be mean or anything, but you still need your time to.
Yeah,
There's only so much you can hit at once,
Right.
so
yeah,
um, yeah,
absolutely.
we also go into one thing that I can throw in is that people have asked me when I make my to-do list and my to delegate list and my to do away with list, how do I do the stuff that's on the list? Like, how do I delegate what's on the to delegate list? How do
Yeah.
I do what's on the to do list? There's one thing that I'd like to throw out called time blocking. And time blocking or setting a time block, it's the act of setting an appointment with yourself
Mm,
to get something done and you to get a task done, an activity, whatever. That could be you could time block movie night with the family. You
Mm.
could time block um, you could time block running to the bank to make a deposit. You could time block working on your website, anything. But it's an appointment with yourself to get something done. And you treat this appointment just like you do a doctor's appointment. You treat this appointment just like you do lunch with a friend or family member. Nobody disturbs you during this time. If somebody wants to get at you, they can get at you before your time block or after your time block, right? So let's say 1 p.m. in the afternoon is your time block for doing A. You know, 5 p.m. in the evening is your time block for doing B. 8 p.m. is your time block for family, whatever that looks like, right? So if anybody wants to get at you, they get at you before or after the time block, not during, right? And time blocking is how you get through your to do list, if that makes sense.
yeah.
And then to get through your to delegate list, sign up for Recipes for Business. And we'll get into that.
Yes, most definitely. Yes, yes. Definitely gonna make sure that I go ahead and subscribe tonight, and then I'm definitely going to, whenever the listeners hear all this, and I'm gonna put it on my website so that people can, you know, find you and get to you, and because this is gold.
I
Yes.
appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to share with my team. Like, I'm probably gonna have to guide them through it. I want to do like you do, so you gotta go. You know what I mean? Like I know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Like I
Yes.
know what I'm talking about.
I gotta perfect it first and be like, "This is what we gonna do."
Uh-huh.
Because they put me in charge of marketing and stuff. So it's like, I said I will rise to the occasion. I'm not. There's no failure going on here.
Right.
You know,
Amen.
do my best.
Amen.
I'm about to build that pipeline. Shoot.
Yes. Yes. Please do.
You're gonna be in there delegating. So I'm gonna need you to do this. I'm gonna need you
Right.
to do this.
That's right. By the way, here's the recipe. Just take
Right.
it right out of my hand.
Yep. Wait, they gonna see. They're gonna see. Yeah, I just thought of like now. It's like, you know what? When you said that, I need to delegate time block movie night,
Me too.
for my
Me
son.
too. I like that. I never thought about that.
Oh man, that's
I do.
real. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Because I know I'd be tired. And my kids probably like, Mama, you always working. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to delegate.
Yeah,
My mind running
he's,
24/7.
he's going to say, "Mama, I see you went to the river without your buckets. What's going on?" Like, well, I got a plan now, son.
I got a plan.
Yep.
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about this show right here. This is a good. This is
This
good.
is it.
This is good. So yeah, I do appreciate you so much, and I would love to, but then whenever you can or you want to, we can do another show. Or just
Yes.
so much you can, so many things. Because I know there's more and more and different
Yeah.
ways we could reach people and fun, like creative ways we could. Like this was a good time here.
Yes, yes, me too. Amen. All of that. Yes, please. I would love to be
He said,
back on.
"Amen, all of it."
Because it's I don't I think I mentioned earlier I don't like drinking through a fire hose. So you got to like give me a step at a time, and we
Yeah,
get that down, and then we can move to that next level. So
yeah,
I'm all about it. Yeah.
most definitely. I appreciate you. Kiana, do you have anything you want to ask or say before you go?
No,
Yeah, you got.
I just want to say thank you for those gems. I'm taking
Yeah.
notes and putting them into play. I thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for
You
the
get good
time.
response, huh? You get good feedback, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. That's what helps me put out a better product too, is when I get that feedback. And like I say, the cool thing about this is that I'm an email away, so it's really easy. I can just
Hmm.
plug it in, and we can roll with it, and so it's good. I love it.
Okay, cool. Me too. Yes,
Right.
most definitely. Well, I guess before we go, if you could drop your social media links to the listeners and wherever they can, find you to get these gems.
Yes, absolutely. So the easiest place to go is if when you go to recipesforbusiness.com and you scroll to the bottom, all of my social media links are there. So you'll look for the little Facebook logo, the LinkedIn logo, and then look for the YouTube logo at the bottom of recipesforbusiness.com. And then you can hook up with all my social media also.
All right, all right, all right. I like that.
Right.
Okay, most definitely. Well, thank you once again, Brandon. You're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I think we're probably going to be, best friends.
Yes,
She
yes,
said best
please.
friends.
Most
Works for me.
definitely.
Grow our network.
Right.
Yes, yes. And thank you too, Kiana, for coming on and
Thank you, Kiana.
participating. And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh yeah, me and her, we just like what 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like forever, but yeah, she's
Right, it do. We
amazing.
connect.
Yeah,
Now we got Brandon. Come on, we in the clique, Brandon.
Yes, we
right.
are. I love it. Yeah.
We got
We
her
grow
like
that
we are
together.
like put our hands in like go.
I'm all
Yes.
about it. I love it.
Right.
Yes, yes. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. I'm not even gonna lie, I have, but not like this before. Like just really good information, good people, good time. So this is Brandy J, Brandon Turner, and Miss Hughes, Tiana Hughes. I'm sorry, there's so much stuff that's going through my head right now. So breaking them down in threes, breaking them down. But yes, this is all of us here at Voices of Courage Walk the Talk, and peace.
Bye.
Bye.